Hello, welcome back to the Perspective Podcast. This is Anchor Staff Xavier Peng.
And Anchor Staff Writer Michaela White.
We talk about art, music, and pop culture in the podcast, and we're finally back with our third episode.
We're so excited to bring you some hot topics in pop culture this week, especially considering all the hype that's happening right now.
Okay, what's been going on lately?
Okay, so Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. Oh my goodness. Also, the Maddie Healy dating rumors. Like, the world is revolving around Taylor Swift right now. And I think if anybody is valid to talk about this, I think that you should kick us off.
Oh my god, I'm so flattered. So yeah, I have been through the Eras Tour in Foxport last weekend, May the 20th, which is a rain show. It was such an experience. If you want to know more about my Eras Tour experience and experience of other kids in PIHS, you could look on the Anchor. We have a new video up for it. But other than that, it is kind of crazy. All the hypes around Taylor these days. So actually yesterday, the day before we recorded this podcast, Taylor Swift just randomly announced a new version of her Midnights album nearly 8 months after its initial release, which features songs like Hits Different and You're Losing Me. These are two new tracks, and also some absolutely unexpected remixes. For example, Karma featuring Ice Spice and Snow on a Beach with more Lana Del Rey, which fans definitely demanded. And it was definitely surprising, and it actually comes out, I think, the day our podcast will be out. So if you haven't listened to it, you can do it like right now because it's gonna be so excited. What do you think of it?
I think more Lana Del Rey is exactly what the doctor ordered. For sure, freaking out over Hits Different because I've been listening to the leaked version, like on YouTube and Spotify and TikTok and stuff. So I've been like anxiously awaiting this one. Also, I think Taylor Swift does not let the hype die. That's why she's such a genius. Like, she knows the entire internet is already freaking out over her, and she's like, hey, let me just release some more songs for like my most successful album ever. She just keeps it going. Like, it's never gonna end. Also, if the Maddie Healy dating rumors are just a publicity stunt, props to her, because that is also bringing so much hype, not only to her, but to the 1975. I think they're gaining a lot of fans because people are like, oh my gosh, Maddie Healy is our new dad. And also, 1975 fans are like, Taylor Swift is making our man shower. Like, we need to applaud this woman. So I'm definitely about it, for sure. Everything that's going on right now, just amazing. Like the pictures from the Foxborough shows where she's just covered in rain and playing a rainy piano. It's so folklore coded. I cannot even begin to express how happy my heart is.
Yeah, I just remember so clearly when she was just flowing her dress in the rain during August. It was absolutely wonderful. And she's definitely someone who really takes care of her fans because she walks everywhere on the stage and to make sure that audience from any aspects, any section of the stadium will get their best experience. And that was definitely wonderful. And also, definitely, we're gonna talk about Taylor and Maddie's dating rumor. Okay, so Taylor and Maddie has been friends for a while. Like, they have been friends since, I would say, like, almost 10 years ago when she was caught, like, wearing the merch of the 1975's first album on the street. And back in the day, she was in her 1989 era, so she was big. And that has brought a lot of attention to the band. And I think during that time, they have built a really great relationship. And to be honest, I started liking the 1975 since like 2020, and around that time I was just like, okay, my favorite artist, Taylor Swift in the 1975, right? Like, it just seems to me that they're not the same. Like, they're very different. Like, one is doing like pop and the other is like rock and experimental and stuff. So it's definitely good for me to see like two of my favorite artists like having such interaction, especially when it comes to like romance. So that was definitely unexpected. And I think this is not the first time that they have rumored to be together, but the last time was just like a joke or a hype or whatever. But this time I think they're getting it. They're actually getting it. Yeah, because well, Jack Antonoff, which is very famous producers, have been working with Taylor for a long time, has worked on their latest album being funny in a foreign language. So I think that interaction. And also I think some press reported that it is exactly Jack who brought these two old friends together, and they started to have some sparks and stuff. And that brings me to the Electric Lady studio party last week, if you have heard of that, Michaela.
I still cannot breathe. I'm actually walking around dead since that happened. They looked so good. She was totally dressed up like super adorable, like pullover sweatshirt and a tennis skirt with some sneakers. And I'm just shook. She's living out the 2014 Tumblr daydream. She's with Matty Healy. They're hand in hand, walking to the car. I mean, and this is right after we're all watching him at the Eras Tour with his hand over his heart, like staring at her in awe like the rest of us. Next to her dad, by the way. Like, this man is in it to win it if he's already with Mr. Swift. All I can say is that this crossover episode has to be the most ambitious crossover of all time. I don't care what anybody said about Infinity War and Endgame. This is the crossover episode.
Yeah, and also we spotted some artists that went to the same party that night that we were just so excited to see because it means that they're interacting. For example, like Florence Welch from Florence and the Machine. We got Kendrick Lamar. We got Maggie Rogers. They're all amazing artists, and it's just so good to see some of my favorite artists interacting. That was definitely wonderful. Okay, so what are some art or like music TV shows that you have been watching lately?
So I have an Apple TV recommendation for everybody listening whatsoever. It doesn't matter where you're from, who you are right now, what is happening. Drop everything and watch Shrinking on Apple TV. First of all, Harrison Ford and Jason Segel are starring, which is just all-star cast right off the bat. But the overall message of the show is just absolutely amazing. And I think that's something that we all need to learn from. So the show is actually about a group of people that work as therapists. That's why it's called Shrinking. But rather than only seeing their doctor-patient perspective, we also see the family and doctor perspective. We see what their home life is like. We see what they're going through and why they may give certain advice to their patients and how they're still trying to figure it out themselves. And the entire theme is just very human. And I think that it's very humanizing to think of our therapists and the people that we ask for advice in life as just people. Everybody's just a person. We all have battles, and they have the same battles as we do. It would be absolutely lackluster to live your life without battles. And I think every episode, every single person goes through at least 3 different struggles. And it's just so humanizing. And I love it because not many TV shows do that. Like, the Kardashians drops today. We're not going to see them going through real things. We're not going to see them dealing with, like, all kinds of psychological issues and mental health problems or taking care of kids. I mean, we might see them taking care of kids, but come on now. So definitely give that one a shot. I think everybody needs to watch that for sure.
That's definitely amazing because, well, like therapists, when we think about this job, we always just think that it is such a mysterious job. Like, we just know that they are masters of these psychological, like, methods and treatments and all that, but we don't really know what's behind them. We don't know who our therapists are, like, don't know who they are, like, as a person. We just know that they are helping us or whatever. But it is great that you said that it's dealing with real life struggles of therapists and their patients, and I think that's definitely something that I've never seen before, so I would love to see that. So I have been watching an HBO show called Love and Death, starring the Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen, and Jesse Plemons. Like, I love those actors. I love all of them. And also, yeah, Lily Rabe, which is like a longtime stars of American Horror Story. And all of those people together, and they're working on a show about a true crime. And I'm just like, okay, you know what? I have to see it. So basically, it is about the story of our protagonist, Candy Montgomery, who was a housewife. She was just this lovely, like, best mom, best wife type of person in the neighborhood. And she just decided to have this affair with her best friend Betty's husband, because they were all driven by their, boring marriage, and they're just trying to find that spark in each other. So they had an affair for like a year, but then they stopped because the male who was cheating went to a marriage council with his wife, and it worked out well. And also his wife is having another children, so they just kind of stopped the affair. But then after about like 8 months, Betty, which is the wife of the man that Candy cheated with, like, she found out eventually about the affair, and she was having post-pregnancy trauma, post-pregnancy depression, and all of that, like her mental state. And then she just decides to, I'm not gonna spoil it right here, but it ended up as a very bloody situation, and that is adapted from a true crime. So that was definitely so interesting. And HBO shows are just always it deals with things that's more than just a murder. It delves deep into the motivation of the murder or true crime or any of that, and then it tells us why they would do it, and then they just explore the moral reasons and the moral dilemma behind all of those things. And I just think that it is a very sophisticated show, and I just think it's a solid show. It's not something that I would say, oh my god, this is the biggest, most innovative show that I've ever seen, but it's just very solid. And if you want to have a spice of true crime show, or thriller type of TV shows that you want to watch during these days, I think that's something that I would definitely recommend. And as for books, I am in AP in English Literature, and my reading has been totally stopped by the assignments of English Lit. So I don't think I've been reading any other books other than the books that I'm required to read in the class. So that's kind of what you get when you choose an events class, but I guess I'm gonna take it. So I would definitely love to hear, for example, some of your favorite books lately, and you could recommend to us. Just comment down below, and we will see.
I want to add that this is going to be my last podcast episode for Presque Isle High School. To all my seniors out there, it's been a crazy ride. Also, freedom. We're almost done. We're stepping onto the finish line right now, 7 days ago. So that's crazy. I've been writing the last Ask Michaela that's ever going to go up on the Anchor, and it's just really emotional. So any other seniors going through this like emotional existential crisis, I just want to let it out there. Like, we are people that you can talk to anytime. We're a safe place. Xavier and I, for sure. And if you're in the younger grades and you're scared about your senior year, reach out. I've got good advice all the way. So I just want to thank everybody for listening and for reading on the Anchor. It's been awesome.
Aren't we going to talk about that? Definitely our start Anchor staff is leaving. The journalism room is definitely emotional, and it has been wonderful doing this podcast with Michaela. She always has the best opinion and perspectives, and as the Perspective podcast will go on to next year, I am hoping to find someone that's even close to as wise and as, creative and insightful as Michaela, which is something that I need to think about, because if I bring it like in a longer sense, I'm not gonna be here for so long as well. So I guess the Perspective Show podcast is something that's really exclusively for this year. And I think I just want to thank everyone who has ever supported. I know that we're not the biggest podcast ever, but we are here sharing our opinions, we're here giving our advice, and we're here having fun. So if you have any question, if you want to have any suggestions, just reach out to us and we would do as much as we can. And yeah.
Again, like I said, thank you to everybody who's listened. This has been crazy. Yeah. So that would be the end of our episode. Maybe the last episode ever. It's all up in the air right now. Everything's up in the air. That's how the world works. Gravity. Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode. Bye.
Bye. Like and download. Stop. Okay, bye. Oh my god, I was like...